I am Jumoke Michaels. Today we are discussing issues of insecurity in the country. We know that recently the president gave a directive to the Nigerian military to fight insecurity to a standstill. In fact, the exact word is to end issues of insecurity in Nigeria. So we're going to be looking at that issue holistically this morning. And I have with me to discuss that a journalist, a public affairs analyst, Mr. Ademola Adegoke. He's also a friend of Summit. You're welcome, sir.
Morning,
Good
Jumoke. Morning, Jumoke.
You look bright and rested, I must say.
We thank God. We thank God. Hoping Banji will soon be back.
Yes. All right, so talking about the president's directive to bring an end to insecurity in Nigeria by the end of 2025. But before then, in your own assessment, what is the state of insecurity in Nigeria today? Is it worse off or just, still the way it is?
Well, I think to be fair, one, we want to say that there has been an improvement. There has actually been an improvement from what it used to be, from reports that we are hearing. A time there was when Maiduguri was almost overrun by the insurgents. And a time there was when bombing, was almost a daily occurrence.
Kidnappings of school children
and all of that.
Yeah.
So that has drastically gone down. But as they say, it is not yet Uhuru. And Yoruba adage, I don't know how to translate that into English. They say that Tina Oba Ton Lasho, Eje o Ton Le Ekono. But the nearest, the nearest English,
Okay.
the nearest English interpretation I can give to that is that it is not yet over until it is over. You understand? It is not yet Uhuru. We still have so many reported cases of kidnapping, and then towards the end of last year, a new terror group sprang up by the name Lakurawa, and they've been wreaking havoc in Zamfara, Kebbi, and that region. So that probably will have prompted the president to say that to give a timeline. But so that is the state. That is the state now. We yes, it has gone down, but it is not yet Uhuru, like I have said. Much work still needs to be done. Before we can say Eureka, that we have actually found an answer to the issue of insurgency in the land.
All right, so given that the president has given the stern, I want to use the word because it sounded stern. We know that you have to bring an end to insecurity and all that. What strategies or initiatives do you think are most critical to address the issues of the challenge of insecurity in Nigeria?
This is an asymmetrical warfare. You understand? In the sense that it is not your conventional warfare where enemy lines are well defined, where even you can say this is a conventional, you are engaging a conventional force engaging another conventional force with adherence to rules of engagement. But the enemy here is
not defined.
Is faceless, to a very large extent, and it has no rules guiding. The enemy here has no rules guiding him. So he engages all sort of tricks and pranks. You understand, to drive his agenda, and then the other force here is trying to, keep to rules of engagement and to ensure that things are done within the bounds of propriety. So to that extent, the tactics to be used will have to be, you are not just going to use kinetic strategies alone. There will be non-kinetic, you understand? And by that, you know, even the citizen, we have a part to play. Intelligence, we have a part to play in this. So it's not just all, you cannot rely on the force of arms alone here in this instance. So the strategy for me, it has to be holistic in nature, has to be the type that, you know, it involves, you know, everybody. Even the citizen that is being protected has to know, you know, why he has to play his part in ending this. So it is not just something that can be left to the armed forces alone. It's something that must, your strategy must, you know, involve everybody. So,
yes, I like the fact that you mentioned that it has to be a strategy to involve everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know the part they need to play in bringing this insurgency to an end.
Yeah.
But do you see this presidential order as a shift in political will or just a political statement? To be able to actually get to people to that point where they know their part.
You see, and that is why, that is you know, you have asked the question: is it just a shift in political will, or maybe a political statement that a shift in, you know, I mean, yes, I want to believe that the president actually does desire that insurgency ends. I want to believe that as a leader, you don't want to rule a country in chaos, you know, ahead. So, to that extent, the president may mean business, but the political side of it, of that statement too, cannot be ruled out. You understand? Because we, especially when we juxtapose this latest order from the president, with when we juxtapose it with previous similar, you know, orders, you know, that have been given at a time, I think during the regime of during the administration of President Buhari, there was a time that even the service chiefs were ordered to relocate, you know, to relocate to Maiduguri, you know, where you can call the real theater of war. And then what came of it, you understand? So you know, to give another, or to have the desire to achieve something, it has to be. I mean, it's one thing, but another thing is to match that desire, you know, with real, with deliberate plan. You understand? A well-structured and well laid out plan to actually ensure that your desire, you know, comes to fruition.
But do you see anything about it that makes it look like this time around they mean business? Is there anything? Because we've heard the same statements over and over again.
You see,
is there anything different about it?
Well. Let me say that I am one person that knows that the fact that you don't know that something is happening does not mean that it is not happening. Yeah. Especially security matters. Security matters is not something that you do and then you go to the mountaintop all the time to broadcast to everybody that this is what is happening. You understand? So it is possible that things are happening that we don't know, and I want to believe, you understand, that things must be happening. We citizens don't have to know all the time, especially when it comes to security issues, because then you will have sold your strategy, you will have sold out your strategy to the enemy if everybody knows what you are planning. So to that extent, I want to say that things may be happening that we don't know. But if you ask me, I will say I have not seen, you know, much happening to give Philip to the order by the president. But then you never can tell. This is a security matter. So many things will have to happen, behind the stage, behind the scene, rather than, being too, I know that we also, rather than the histrionics and the optics of things, I believe that things must be happening, at the background that we may not know.
Okay. Now, we know that from time, it has been revealed that some of the root causes of insecurity in Nigeria, especially in the northern part, is poverty, unemployment, and economic inequalities in the northern part of Nigeria. Do you think this directive has in any way, boxed those causes to be able to give, a clear and confident background to it, that they are now ready to work?
I like the angle you are coming from, and you know that I had said that issues like this, insurgencies like this, that you don't rely only on kinetic approach alone, non-kinetic. There are soft approaches. There are some other soft strategies that you will have to employ, that will also help in you achieving your goal. And one of it is what you have mentioned, the human angle to it, poverty reduction, and I want to subscribe to the idea that for us to totally eliminate insurgency in this country, we will have to deal with the issue of poverty reduction, not only in the northern part of the country, but in the whole country. Because then, too, you talk, even here in the south, it's not as if it's totally, you know what has...
Economic inequality. They usually feel that they're not getting enough. Enough is not coming out of the north. Sorry, I'm not trying to divert, but do you think that's one of their stances taken against the tax reform bill?
Okay, the tax reform...
not being able to consider them and all that development in the northern part of Nigeria.
Well, I think that if you look at that issue that you have just mentioned now, you will see that there is a softening of their position, of their stance now. I think that, when the issue of tax reform came out, so many of the northern leaders, came out, in stiff opposition against it. And by that time, they had not, I believe that so many had not even taken time to read the details, to study, every minute detail of the bill. But I think as time went by and more facts started unfolding about it, you can see that recently all the governors, including the northern governors, came out in support of it with some little tweaks here and there to the bill. So, yes, ignorance, I agree, mainly, but there is this belief that, the South, we always want to shortchange the North. You understand, in policies like this. But when the matter was now laid on the table and everybody, looked into it and studied it very well, I think so many people now came back to their senses to say that, okay, well, it is not, the devil is actually not as black as he's been painted on this matter. And you can see even some leaders like Dogara, the former speaker. You saw him, the very robust, argument he came up with in support of the program. And he said that for him, no leader has ever, you understand, as that no leader has ever, taken the interest of the North into account the way, he has seen, the current president doing, especially, regarding some other things. He talked even outside the tax reform bill. So I think, and again, you can also not rule out, politics. Some of the people coming out against the reform bill might not actually be because they actually wanted to fight for the people, but then, you know, we put politics into everything.
A lot of things going to play.
Yeah.
All right, so many people have argued over and over that on the issue of education, especially education for the youth in Nigeria and also the northern part of Nigeria, is one of the basic things that government needs to address, you know, to be able to curb this issue of extremist ideologies, you know, that is, you know, taking so many of our youths into these groups, terrorist groups or organizations. Now, do you think the government is willing to address this issue of education as it should in this fight, still talking about this fight against insecurity, the place of education?
Yeah, we said it. You see, the place of education we never can overemphasize the place of education in this issue of insurgency. And I said it already, that, you know, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And then again, when you are enlightened, when you are educated, nobody can hoodwink you, nobody can bamboozle you about anything. You know the facts as they are. When people are well educated, they know that the same Islam that is practiced in the north is what is being practiced in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in UAE, and these are, you know, countries that are actually, you know, things are looking up for them. You understand? It is the same Islam. So, but people need to be educated. You understand? If you are not educated, you will not know what is happening in Saudi. You won't know. But with education, you don't even have to have been in a place to know what is happening there. So when people know and they see that Saudi Arabia, that is the home of Islam, see what they are doing. So when people are educated, this fundamentalism, you know, this puritanical, you know, negative puritanical belief that Islam, that to practice Islam, you have to be as you have to, you know, one, you know, education is even evil. They say Boko Haram, meaning that book is evil. You understand? Western education is evil. When people are well educated, so governments at all levels, local, state, and federal, must do or whatever, you know, it can to ensure that the people are well educated. An educated mind is a liberated mind.
All right, so let's take it a bit further, talking about Nigeria's neighbors and regional organizations, okay, like the Economic Community of West African States, that's ECOWAS, in which our president is even the chairman. All right, so how can they support Nigeria's efforts in this fight against insecurity, especially the ones that are, you know, our close neighbors?
That is the problem we are having presently, you know. And let me digress a little to say that, you know, I have said it, that it has to be holistic. And if you look at and that is the reason, one of the reasons why, if you ask me how realistic the presidential order is, my own answer will be yes and no to it. You understand? Yes, because I know that, you know, even as a student of warfare and military expeditions, I know that there have been, if you look at, people will look at the timeline to say it is very short. You understand? But there have been expeditions in history that had even shorter timelines. If you talk of the invasion of France by the Allied forces, how long did they take? You understand? But it was a well-planned expedition. You talk of the Entebbe raid, when the Israelis went to rescue the hostages. You talk of a 6-day war, you know, when Israel, you know, carried out a preemptive war against Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. You know, it took 6 days, and within 6 days, Israel was already, you know, within the precincts of Cairo, and they only head back because of the possible international backlash. So the timeline is not the problem, but issues like that you have brought out, you understand, like what is the state of what level of cooperation do we enjoy with our neighbors?
Yeah.
You understand? What level of cooperation? And that is very, very critical. You know, you will discover that presently, our neighbors, you know, Chad, Niger, Mali, they are not so friendly with us because of the stance we took, you know, during the military takeover. And then you could even see that the Nigerian president recently was accusing our president of wanting to use Lakurawa group to destabilize his own government. So this will be a very, you know, this will be a big challenge. When this man was in power, the man that died, I think was it Abri now of Chad, you know, being a soldier himself, and we enjoyed so much cooperation with him. He was, you know, we had this joint border force that, you know, so that whoever escaped from Nigeria, you know, will be taken care of at their own end, and whoever escaped from their own end will be taken. So we enjoy that kind. We don't enjoy that now. So, and that is why, you know,
and that's very dangerous.
That's very, very dangerous. So for this order to be realistic, one of the things we need to do is to ensure that we enjoy, you know, very good relations with our neighbors, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, with the citizen. You understand? It's not just going to, because these people, and that is why I started by saying this is an asymmetrical warfare. The enemy is almost faceless. Even the citizen that you are protecting, some of them are collaborating with the enemy, and that is why, you know, you also need to put your hair, your eyes, and everything on the ground to ensure that you get every bit of information you need to get about the enemy. And how do you do that? You can only do that if you enjoy the cooperation, you know, of the people.
Yes.
If you enjoy the support and cooperation of the people, this will be possible to do.
And it will be seamless.
It will be seamless. It will be seamless. So the armed forces, they are trying their best, but this is not a fight that can be. Even the National Orientation Agency has a role to play in this. The citizen that is collaborating with the enemy because of some pieces of the cake from them, they need to be well enlightened. They need to be well educated that what you are doing, it may bring you, you know, quick gain, but in the long run you are the loser. Your children are the loser. When people are well enlightened about this, when they know the consequences of their action, because people most times they want to do things that will satisfy their immediate need, and these terrorists, these bandits, they have a lot of money to throw around to buy the support of people. But when people are well enlightened that you don't do this against your land, because what you are doing, you know, you may not know the effect today. It will affect generations, you know. So when people are well enlightened like that, they will key in and then, you know, give their support, you know, on this issue of intelligence gathering. And then so the citizen first, you know, must be well carried along to ensure that they do not give their support to the enemy. Rather, they do all they can to support our own forces.
All right, seeing that the role of the people, what the people must do, is very important. Let us help people understand the impacts of ending insurgency on Nigeria's economy and economic development and regional stability. Let's just help them understand so that people can key into this fight themselves.
Because see, now we are all shouting that the country is hard, the country is this, the country is that. If insurgency ends today, look at the price of food, for example. Because of this insurgency, the food prices have blown the roof. They have blown the roof. The prices of food items have, you know, and because people, you know, places where hitherto people went to their farms and carried out their farming activities without fear or without let or hindrance, now they cannot do so. So prices of food must, naturally go up, must naturally soar. And that is so. These are some of the things. So definitely, if it's then you cannot have we want, the president has been going around to woo foreign investors. But pray tell me, who wants to come and invest in an unsettled environment? Who wants to invest in an environment where there is chaos, where there is kidnapping, where there is so much insurgency? So when insurgency ends today, there will be foreign direct investment, there will be foreign portfolio investment. You understand, there will be employment, because when there is FDI, it will create employment for our youth. So definitely it will have impact. And this is the message that I expect that we send to the people. And that is why I've said that even the National Orientation Agency has to do
a lot
of work in this instance.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program this morning. I really appreciate you. Thanks
for having me once again.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so that's our discussion today. So we are looking out for how this directive from the president will keep unfolding as we get to the end of 2025. And the directive is bring insecurity to an end. That's the discussion. We'll go on to the next segment of the program and looking at some developmental issues in Lagos State. We'll leave you with that. I'll see you again on Summit. Bye-bye.